There's something nobody talks about when it comes to procrastination. A surprising truth hiding behind all those times you've put off important work. And no, it has nothing to do with discipline or motivation. This truth is much more powerful. You're not lazy. You're being controlled by a deep biological mechanism that everyone faces in today's digital age. This truth changes everything about how we see ourselves. The real reason? Your brain is addicted to dopamine. Yes, the pleasure chemical has taken control of how you interact with the world. And it's not your fault. It's by design. Modern technology is built to exploit these very dopamine receptors in your brain. Every notification, every autoplay video, every new message, all designed to release dopamine and make you want more. And your brain? It constantly wants to return to those easy sources of stimulation, interrupting your ability to truly focus and causing important work to be delayed. Dopamine is the chemical that makes you feel good. It drives you to check your phone, binge that show, or open one more tab. It's the biological motivation behind every reward-seeking behavior humans have. In the short term, it feels harmless, even necessary. A little entertainment, a little relaxation. Who could complain about that? But over time, those tiny hits of pleasure start training your brain to avoid anything uncomfortable. Your brain begins to associate difficulty with negative feelings and seeks the easiest path to get dopamine. Writing that email? Too much effort. Your brain says, let me check Twitter first, just for a minute. Starting that project? Too complex. Maybe I should clean my desk first. Sitting in silence with your thoughts? Nah, better check Instagram. Here's what makes this problem complex. You're not lazy. You're overwhelmed by a system that rewards distraction. And the most dangerous part is, we start confusing overstimulation with actual exhaustion. We feel drained not because we've worked too hard, but because our brains have been overloaded with endless stimulation. I remember one morning, I sat down ready to work. I had my coffee, my to-do list, and my clean desk. I was charged up and full of determination. Today will be a productive day, I told myself. 10 minutes later, I was watching a raccoon eat grapes. Then a video about baking a cake I'll never make. Then an article about Viking lifestyles. Then email. Then a podcast. Then back to email. I had no idea how I got there. I just blinked and there I was. It was as if some invisible force had pushed me from one task to another, from one stimulation to the next. And then came the guilt. The internal monologue. Why can't you just focus? Everyone else seems to get their work done. What's wrong with you? It felt like failure. Not just failure at work, but failure as an adult. I blamed myself for lacking discipline, lacking motivation, lacking all the things that everyone else seemed to have in abundance. But looking back, I know it wasn't me failing. It was my brain doing what it was trained to do. It was seeking the path of least resistance to the next dopamine hit. Seeking comfort, avoiding discomfort, following its biological programming. And the internet? It makes comfort way too easy. It gives our brains exactly what they want, anytime, in an instant. And our brains aren't equipped to deal with this endless availability. To understand why this happens, we need to look at the structure of the brain. Your brain is ancient. It evolved in a world where dopamine came from rare, meaningful things, a successful hunt, a beautiful view, laughter with people you love. In that environment, dopamine seeking was a survival strategy refined over hundreds of thousands of years. But now, dopamine comes from swipes, likes, and autoplay, from notifications and messages, from short videos and new posts, from emails and blog articles, from sounds, colors, and animations deliberately designed to capture your attention. And here's the crucial part. Your brain doesn't care if that dopamine source is real or artificial, meaningful or trivial. It just wants that feeling. This creates a massive contradiction. On one hand, you have an ancient brain system optimized for a world of scarcity. On the other, you have a modern digital ecosystem optimized to exploit exactly that system with endless rewards. So when you sit down to focus on a complex task, writing a report, learning a new concept, analyzing data, your brain panics. This isn't stimulating enough. Give me something easier. You reach for your phone without thinking. It's an automatic reflex. You switch tabs before your brain even finishes a sentence. You constantly jump from task to task, seeking quick dopamine satisfaction while important work remains unfinished. That's not laziness, not personal weakness. It's the result of a deep mismatch between how our brains are designed and the environment they're operating in. Your brain is overloaded and undertrained. And that's the shift we need to make, deliberately training our brains to work against their natural tendencies in an unnatural environment. So what do you do when the world is designed to distract you? How do you rebuild focus in a world of constant interruption? Here's what helped me and thousands of others I've worked with over the years. Step 1. Give your brain space. Every day, especially in the morning, spend at least 20 minutes without your phone, without screens, without digital stimulation. This isn't work time. It's time for your brain to exist without being constantly pumped with dopamine. You can go for a walk, journal, meditate, or simply drink coffee in silence. The goal is to let your brain remember what it feels like to live without constant stimulation. Over time, this no dopamine time will become less uncomfortable. In fact, it will start to feel like a relief, a breathing space from the never-ending flood of information. Step 2. Deliberately practice boredom. This is the hard part. In the modern world, we've been programmed to avoid boredom at all costs. We reach for our phones the moment we feel a twinge of boredom. But boredom is a crucial skill, and yes, it is a skill. Stand in line without checking notifications. Sit on your bed and stare at the ceiling. Walk without listening to a podcast. Let stillness become normal. Why is this important? Because boredom is the gateway to deep focus. Your brain needs to learn how to exist in a state that's not constantly seeking new stimulation. This takes practice, and it will be uncomfortable at first. But gradually, your brain will adapt. Step 3. Train effort. This practice is simple but powerful. Every day, do one thing that feels difficult but meaningful. Read 10 pages of a challenging book instead of scrolling. Write 300 words for your project. Solve a complex problem. Learn a new skill. Initially, keep these sessions short. 25 minutes is ideal. Use the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of focus, then a 5-minute break. But during those 25 minutes, do just one thing. No messages. No email. No task switching. Most importantly, teach your brain that discomfort isn't danger. It's the door to growth. Every time you push through the impulse to switch tasks, you're building new neural pathways. This isn't a quick fix. There's no magic pill. But over time, your brain will begin to adapt. The initial resistance to deep work will start to dissolve. And you'll find a deeper, more sustainable kind of dopamine that comes from completing things that truly matter. This isn't about perfection. It's not about completely eliminating social media or technology. It's about awareness and balance. Most people think they need to fix everything at once. But growth doesn't work that way. It starts with clarity and small steps. When you understand what's happening in your mind, you stop fighting yourself. You start seeing the patterns, the triggers, the subtle signs when your brain is looking for a quick dopamine fix. The loops you keep falling into, like checking your phone right when you wake up, or opening a new tab whenever you face a difficult task. With this awareness, you can begin to change your relationship with focus and distraction. You're not lazy. You're just living in a world that constantly pulls your attention away from what matters most. And when you internalize that, it changes how you act and how you talk to yourself. You stop saying, "I'm bad at focusing," and you start asking, "What's pulling me away?" You replace, "I'm too lazy to do this work," with, "My brain is seeking an easy dopamine solution instead of meaningful effort." That shift from self-blame to self-awareness is where real transformation begins. That's when you can start building systems, habits, and environments that support you instead of sabotage you. You can change. You can rebuild focus. You can rewire how you respond to digital stimuli. But it's not a one-time switch. It's a daily practice, a beautiful, worthwhile struggle that you never completely finish. And no, it won't happen overnight. You'll relapse. You'll scroll. You'll forget. You'll find yourself, on a Sunday afternoon, 2 hours after starting YouTube just for 5 minutes. And that's okay. That's part of the process. Every time you notice you've slipped and get back on track, you're getting stronger. And it starts with this, one small win. One moment of stillness. One conscious breath before reacting. One choice to stay instead of escape. One decision to tell yourself a different story. That's how you break the loop. That's how you begin to shift trajectory. That's how you take back control from a system designed to take it away from you. If this touched something in you, if you sat there nodding, if you saw yourself in these words, then know that you're not alone. Millions of people are fighting the same battle. It's the defining battle of our age, the battle to reclaim our attention. Leave a comment with a brain to remind yourself. I'm not lazy. I'm rewiring. I'm engaging in the process of retraining my brain in a world not designed for it. If you're determined to change your relationship with technology and focus, start small. Not perfect. Not all at once. Just one tiny step, 20 minutes without your phone in the morning. One 25-minute uninterrupted focus session. One screen-free evening before bed. And if no one told you this today, you're not broken. You're just human in an increasingly inhuman world. You're not behind. You're just bombarded with information and stimulation. Welcome to Shifted Mindset, a community of people rewiring their relationship with technology, focus, and meaning, where we acknowledge the challenges of living in today's digital age and learn together. Let's grow. Together. Let's build stronger, more focused brains. Let's rediscover the deep focus and joy of completing things that truly matter. Think about this. What will you practice 5 minutes of focus on today? A small moment of attention, a small step toward a rewired brain. Because sometimes, all we need to begin is the belief that change is possible.